Hello everyone. Hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of a Dark Reaction. This is Short Live, and my name is Matt. And this is it. This is the final one. This is the final episode of this goddamn show. I think. I think this is it. I think this is the final video we're gonna do on it. Well, there's a possibility I'm gonna make a video where I just talk about it, where I just try and figure out everything, but I feel like maybe the show will just tell me everything, and then it's up to me whether I get it or not. But I'll just talk about it later on a different video anyway. Like I've made like a discussion for Doctor Who seasons, so I could probably do a video where talking about Dark as a whole. But I'm not feeling too confident about it because I watched seasons 1 and 2 like a year in the past. So whatever. Anyway, Dark. This is the 8th episode of the 3rd season. I believe it's the final episode, and I haven't even loaded it up on Netflix, so I'll do that real quick. But yes, what happened last time on Dark? We had the best episode of the show. Just straight up, we had the best episode of the show last week, at least to me. But most people seem to agree that the final 2 episodes apparently are fucking great. So I'm excited for this one too. But the previous episode, the reason why I liked it so much is because the bail came off. And the show just said, fuck it. Fuck you. Here's everything. So, like, while watching the show normally, you would be like, okay, what is happening? Why is this character doing this? Why is this character doing that? What is the end purpose? What is everything? Previous episode was just like, okay, fuck you. This is the deal. This is how it go. And you get to see, Jonas become the mysterious stranger, and then you see the mysterious stranger become Adam, and here we are now. Because we have laid out everything, everywhere, everyone where it should be, and then now we finally close the loop, and you get to see how everything came to be. So now the timeline makes sense. The thing is that there's some more shit that is happening at the end, and this is something I've said before, is that when the show is gonna reach its end, what we're gonna have to get the old characters actually tell me what the fuck is happening. The old characters to finally have a conclusion to their stories, because they are the same characters as the other ones, but they are the last ones in the timeline, so that's where the show has to end, with their history ending. So, yes, the previous episode essentially just closed the loop and explained everything, gave full context for everything, gave us context for Bartos and Sylvia. Also, Noah kills Bartos, I believe. I don't remember, I didn't go back to check, but I'm pretty sure that at the beginning of season 2, we see young Noah kill a dude, and that dude, I'm pretty sure, was Bartosz. Because people even told me, people are assuming that is Bartosz because he kind of looks like him, and I think it's the same actor that they're using here for older Bartosz. So, that would mean that Noah kills him. I don't know why. Silja already died at this point, so they're orphans, him and Agnes. Agnes then goes to the future, and then she gets sent back in order to hook up with the Genesis child or whatever. That's as far as we know, but we haven't seen that yet. But yes, we get context and explanations for Noah, for Jonas, Adam, Mr. Stranger, everything. Everything makes sense. Everything is great. So that to me essentially told me that nobody really knew what the fuck they were doing. Characters were acting and doing shit, and I assumed that they knew better, when the reality is that no, they were still being played by either their future versions, their future rare versions, or another entity that is just kind of toying with them. So that's where we're at. But final episode, 2 episodes ago, Adam finally reached his goal of fucking throwing Martha into the abyss, into the dark matter or of nothingness abyss, whatever. And it might have killed her. It might have, and I think it did, and because that was his plan. He just wanted to get rid of Martha and get rid of the Genesis baby, and so like nothing would came to be, and he was kind of hoping he would cease to exist, sort of like Marty McFly in Back to the Future. He looked at his hand and he was like, "Wait, I'm still solid. What the fuck?" He was like, "Why am I not fading away?" And the thing is that he doesn't know. He doesn't know about the split, or if he knows, he maybe doesn't. Does he know? Because he should know where the baby comes from, but he probably doesn't know how far the split leads into. Because the thing is that, and this is something that I was thinking later, is that the weird shit is that Martha. Okay, so the split happens the moment alternate universe Martha goes to save Jonas, and she either does or she doesn't. And the thing is that if she does, she saves Jonas, and then that Jonas goes and becomes the Jonas that goes to her world, which essentially makes her start her journey. But then that Martha that starts her journey because of Jonas B2 is the one that has to go back and make sure that Jonas B2 happens, but in one version that doesn't happen, and Jonas B1 happens, which is the Jonas that stayed in the house and stayed in the post-apocalyptic future because Bartosz came in and took Martha away. And here's the thing, is something that I was thinking later, well, editing I think, is that Eva said, so choosing Adam is choosing death. And she means this literally, because it's not just thematically, because it's like this thematic thing of like, oh, one is light, one is darkness, one is life, one is death. No. She means that literally. If you go to Adam, you will die, which is what happens. Martha, in one version, she listens to Adam, and she goes and saves Jonas. Yeah, because Adam sent her to do that, which is weird because that creates the split. So then Adam doesn't exist, but he does. So he's aware of the split to a degree because he has to give birth to the Genesis child, but he doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand. I just doubt. Does he know about the split? Or does he just think that time will change? If you're not following, I don't blame you. But it's the thing of like, Adam sends Martha into the house to rescue Jonas in order to make sure that Jonas fucks with her and then gives birth to the Genesis child, which is the source of everything. But also he knows that she doesn't rescue him because that is what makes Adam happen. So he should be aware of both possibilities, and he should be aware of both splits, unless he doesn't understand the idea of a split, or he just think that he's just changing the way things were. Either or he knows about the split, but he doesn't understand to what length. He doesn't understand why Martha doesn't show up in one version. And the reason why Martha doesn't show up in that version is because she goes to Eva, and because she goes to Eva, she lives, and because she leaves, she becomes Eva, and because she lives also, the Genesis child will survive in her. Because there are two Genesis childs in play the moment that Bartosz shows up. Because that splits makes sure that there is two Marthas and there are two Genesis childs. So, if Adam kills one of them, which he did, it doesn't matter because the other one's still alive and that child is still alive. So there you go. Okay. Fucking what the fuck are we doing? At the end of the episode, Adam kills her, or does the thing with the black matter or thing, and Martha disappears, and he's just like, oh, finally. And then nothing changed at all. And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, you were wrong, you dumb motherfucker. Everything you've been doing, including killing your own mother, nothing. Fucking nothing. So, cool. And then last second, Claudia shows up. Old Claudia shows up. She just comes in and she goes like, hey. And that's where the episode ends. And here we are. I said last episode that this episode is probably just going to be old people talking to each other. Yeah, and explanations. I want to know. But yeah, I'm ready for some old ass people, because there should be just Adam, there should be just old Claudia, there should be Eva, and maybe we'll get to see the other versions of Martha, alternate universe Martha, and we can see like Bartosz or whatever. Like, yeah, but most things have been explained as far as the timeline is concerned. We haven't explained exactly what's happening though, and I feel like we're gonna get that, and then we're gonna have to get a conclusion of sorts. But that's where we're at. Yeah, I think we're ready. I think we're ready to watch this episode. So yes, if you want to watch full length, Patreon. Other than that, I think we're ready. So, Dark, season 3, episode 8. Let's go. I still have no idea how this game is played. Okay.
Du willst diesen Knoten zerstören. Aber jeder Schritt, den du tust, wird dazu, ihn zu erhalten.
This is true.
Ich habe Martha und den Ursprung getötet.
Evas Welt.
I'm
Sie
not the
beide
only
hätten
one.
nie existieren.
Both should never have existed.
Ohne ist nichts vollkommen.
It's complete without a third dimension. What are we introducing here?
Es gibt
Are we talking about a third timeline?
eine dritte Welt.
Die Welt, aus der dieser Knoten geboren wurde.
The world that gave birth to the
Wo
North.
alles seinen Ursprung hat. In der ein einziger Fehler begangen
Where a
wurde.
single mistake was made. Okay, the Tannhaus shit. I forgot about this. They showed it last episode. But there is a way to destroy it.
Indem wir verhindern, dass in der Ursprungswelt
By preventing the invention of
das Reisen
time
durch Raum
space
und
travel.
Zeit überhaupt erst erfunden wird.
In the origin world in the first. How do you...
Auch so getan werden wie zuvor. Bis zu diesem Moment,
Das ist schon einmal passiert.
dass du versuchst, den Ursprung zu zerstören. Das ist unendliche Male passiert. Aber das hier, du und ich, geschieht zum ersten Mal. Es ist Zeit, dass du verstehst, wie alles wirklich zusammenhängt.
Lay it on me. Tell me, girl. I need to know.
Du erschaffst dich auf ewig neu
Yeah?
und sie sich.
Abwechselnd in der einen und in der anderen Welt allen ihr Leben.
Du willst deinen Sohn zerstören und den Knoten mit ihm. Eva will, dass er lebt und muss dafür den Knoten aufrechterhalten.
Alle jemals leben. Dann müssen wir tun, was schon immer geschehen ist.
By maintaining continuity, then we may have some semblance of a life. Oh, this is when they walk in front of Jonas V2 on Martha 1. I like this thing whenever it happens. Seeing the same events but happen from a different perspective. There we go.
Hättet niemals existieren dürfen.
Woher weißt du das alles?
It's true, they should never have
Woher weißt
existed.
du von der Ursprungswelt?
How do you know about the origin world? This is a good question.
Jahre habe ich gedacht, dass sie meine Tochter ist.
She wasn't?
Musste ich den Knoten erst aufrechterhalten, damit ich zu dem werde, was ich heute bin.
Okay. In order
Du
to make
weißt, was
sure.
du tun musst.
And then this is when she sent him to kill Regina.
Muss passieren. Damit ich alles dran setzen werde, es zu verhindern.
So she can grow and become who she is.
Wie Schmerz und Leid gebracht. Wieder und wieder. Damit mein Weg mich heute hier zu dir führen konnte.
Oh, he actually gets here.
Ist es gewesen?
Wow.
Wie
Claudia.
habe ich die Figuren über das Schachbrett gezogen. Und musste dabei zusehen, wie alles immer wieder passiert. In der Apokalypse ist sie für den Bruchteil einer Sekunde stehen geblieben.
Okay.
Und hat damit alles aus dem Gleichgewicht gebracht. Aber wenn die Zeit stillsteht, ist für einen Moment auch die Kette aus Ursache und Wirkung gebrochen.
Oh, so if you do something the moment the apocalypse happens, then there won't be...
Etwas verändern.
Nutzt das Schlupfloch in deiner Welt, um ihr jüngeres Ich in die eine oder andere Richtung laufen zu lassen. Und damit den Kreislauf aufrechtzuerhalten. Und ich habe es genutzt, um mich ebenfalls in eine andere Richtung laufen zu lassen, um heute hier zu sein. Und du musst es dafür nutzen, Jonas auf einen anderen Weg zu schicken. Jonas und Martha, sie sind schuld daran, dass alles immer wieder passiert. Du musst sie in die Ursprungswelt schicken, damit sie dem Ganzen endlich ein Ende setzen.
So the moment the apocalypse happens, you have like a moment when you can do something that is outside of the loop causality. That is what creates a branch. So he's gonna send this Jonas and the alternate version of Martha that come here, and before she takes him away, he's gonna send them into a different place. Okay, this is a third branch then.
Ich kann dir das erklären. Alles. Aber erst müssen wir hier weg. Das ist unsere letzte Hoffnung.
Okay.
Deinen Weg. Wie du nicht zu mir werden musst. Wie all das hier niemals passieren muss. Aber dafür musst du mir vertrauen.
Which is very difficult considering what just happened.
Du musst sie retten.
Die andere Martha?
Ich habe all die Jahre gedacht, dass nur ich allein es ändern muss. Aber es ist ebenso ihre Schuld. Wir wissen es ein Tropfen. Was wir nicht wissen,
It's an ocean.
holen. Bevor Magnus und Franziska
Okay.
holen.
Okay, this is what is happening. Yeah, we're gonna go after her. Claudia's explained this to her past self, so then she might know in the future.
Papa, sag ihm, dass es mir leid tut.
Okay, this is before she goes to die, and that's when she apologizes. She does tell him, "I'm sorry." Okay, and now we finally close off the Claudia Tideman story.
Und alles gelingt.
Regina will live. So that's where Bartos and Martha are going, and Magnus and Franziska, sent by Adam, are gonna take her away, and then Jonas has to intervene and take her away before Franziska and Magnus do so. Okay, he's just gonna set it up right now, so then he's just gonna run in, put it on the floor, and be like, "Trust me." Yeah, just run to Martha. Yeah! That was perfectly timed. That was fucking perfectly timed. For the both of us. She just died in front of you, and he just died in front of her.
Weiß nicht, wer ich bin.
Yeah.
Der Uhrmacher. Er wird heute die Passage zum ersten Mal öffnen.
Yeah, Martha is giving the proper response. What? So is it just gonna make it so they both die forever?
Und dafür, dass alles
Yeah.
so passiert.
Or the reason everything happens.
Als dass sie nie existieren. Deine Welt und meine. Dass wir nie existieren.
I mean, in this fucking both worlds of pure suffering, then I mean there will be a world. Like reality won't cease to be. It's just that our timelines just won't be a thing.
Dich bereits erwartet.
We're finally having our confrontation, and Adam doing. It's not loaded.
Das ist nicht richtig. Du hast mich getötet.
Äh.
Jedes Mal.
But did we already change things?
Wir müssen in der Ursprungswelt verhindern,
There's no tunnel. Yeah.
dass unsere beiden Welten jemals
They have to save the son, daughter, and granddaughter from dying in the car crash.
Zu reisen, da seine Familie noch lebt. Aber anstattdessen hat er seine Welt gespalten. Wir müssen zu dem Moment zurückreisen, wo sein Schwert seinen Anfang genommen hat.
Grandpa just was up to some bullshit and he accidentally fucked the universe. It looks fucking dope. I like it. Aww. Okay. And she just saw a portal opening into a different dimension. Yeah. Okay. There's just a quick mindfuck. There's just a quick weird shit. We're just gonna show for like a second. Let's go. Yes. The Back to the Future. Yeah.
Ich dachte, du willst den Laden. Vielleicht nicht jetzt, aber irgendwann. Weil du nicht zuhörst.
They had a fight before the crash happened.
Hast du mich all die Jahre mal gefragt, ob mich das interessiert? Was ich eigentlich will? Es regnet draußen. Ist das alles, was du dazu zu sagen hast?
They had a fight before it. In fact, that might be the reason why they left.
Geheimnisse. Und dass das, was wir wissen, ein Tropfen in einem unendlichen Ozean ist,
It's a drop in an infinite ocean.
Da hast du mal recht gehabt.
At least
Du
you're
weißt
right
vielleicht
about
alles
that.
über Einstein, Rosenbrücken und schwarze Löcher, aber über mich weißt du absolut gar nichts.
Okay.
Ich Zuschauer.
Yeah, for living a citizen.
Beschließen Universum und mich.
You want to live with the world. Oh, you're upset that he never gave you any attention. Oh, are we gonna cause it? Or did we stop it? Or did we stop it?
Der Hilfe.
Die Brücke ist gesperrt.
Oh, they're just gonna tell him you can't go that way.
Komm, geht mal nach Hause.
Was wir wissen, ist ein Tropfen.
What we don't know
Was wir
is
nicht
an
wissen, ein
ocean.
Ozean.
Dein Vater liebt dich. Er würde alles für dich tun.
Was habt ihr gerade gesagt?
What is gonna be his response to this, though?
Die Brücke ist gesperrt.
Komm. Los, komm.
He believed them. He believed them. So the thing that he probably knows what just happened, because Tanghouse probably has talked about like alternate realities or whatever, and the fact that they just said the right words that they needed to say.
Weißt du was, du hast recht. Wir sollten morgen fahren.
So he probably knows about time travel and universe travel and all that shit. He doesn't know that they're real, but he just knows the concepts because Tanghouse hasn't shut up about that in forever. So they popped in out of nowhere, and then they go like, please don't go that way. Your father loves you. What we know, like what we know is a drop, what we don't know is an ocean. Which is what Tanghouse has been telling him his entire life, because he just referred to it. And then after he heard that, and they say your father would do anything for you, he realizes that his dad invented time travel or whatever in order to save him.
Die Brücke ist gesperrt.
And that he loves him.
Und denkt, er hat ein paar Engel gesehen.
Mach dich nicht lustig.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Und plötzlich so ein Gefühl.
That was great. Aw. Little hug. They fucking did it! This actually does make me very happy. This entire sequence. Now what? Now what happened? Do we just live our life here in the 70s? I don't think time travel exists anymore.
Glaubst du, dass irgendetwas von uns bleibt? Das ist das, was wir dann sind. Ein Traum. Das nie wirklich gegeben.
That is a question, isn't it?
Ich weiß es nicht.
Oh. Nope. You're just gonna melt away. You're gonna fade away. That's the rules we're working on then. So this is how it ends.
Perfekt zusammen.
Aww. Go out together. Yeah. There they go.
I see trees of
You too as well. Red roses too.
what a wonderful
Everyone is fading. Everyone fades away. Everyone. Everyone at every place, at every point in time. So we're just gonna get to see all of them stop suffering. And finally the loop breaks. This is fantastic. I love this. Like, everything fades away. Even the names fade away. This is fantastic. Because the thing is that every character hates their life, but they have to keep doing it in order to, like, to see if they can find a way out of this fucking labyrinth, out of this fucking maze. So now we get to see a montage of every character realizing that it's over. The nightmare is over. They don't understand how it happened, but they know that it's over. And that we're out. They realize that they die too. But more than die is more like they stop existing. Oh, that's great. What now? Ride round, ride round like a record, baby. Ride round. Is this a new world then? Ah, yes! Even they're here. So everyone is just living a happy life here?
Erzähl mal, Tom.
Komm, erzähl.
Komm, erzähl.
Aber ihr müsst versprechen, dass es niemandem weiter erzählt.
Erzähl.
Okay.
Letzten Sommer ist...
This is the jacket. In...
Ich weiß auch nicht, ich glaube, ich hatte gerade ein Déjà-vu oder sowas. Das sieht jetzt vollkommen absurd an, aber ich habe genau das hier letzte Nacht geträumt. Und ein Knall. Und dann war plötzlich alles dunkel.
Is that what the name of the show is, Dark? We're
Und
head
es
end.
ist zu Ende. Eigenartiges Gefühl, als ob das gut ist. Dass alles vorbei ist. Als ob man plötzlich frei ist von allem.
Solltest du dringend untersuchen müssen.
Right? Because whatever she's saying is crazy. Whatever she's saying is crazy on any context. Except the ones that we had in the show.
Habt ihr schon einen Namen?
You already have a name. I can try and guess, but does it start with a J?
Ich glaube, ich finde Jonas einen schönen Namen.
Yeah. That's nice. Fuck yes! No, shut the fuck up. I don't want to see Cobra Kai Netflix. Let me listen to his song. That was a really good ending. And like that really... I feel like I've been depressed watching the show for the past like every episode of the show. So this ending just makes me happy. It's a really good ending. I pulled out the lyrics, but it's all German, so I don't know where they are. I don't know which part we're at. This song fucking slaps. This song is the best. So if anything, I have to say that Dark has good insert songs. Okay, full length. Sorry for dragging that on for like an extra 10 minutes. I don't give a fuck. That song fucking slaps. Go listen to it right now. It's Irgendwann by Nena. Fucking... I wonder if there are any other Nena songs that I would like. Because I know the two. I know 99 Love Balloons, and then that one. Irgendwann with one. I wonder if there's any other one that I would like. I know they did 99 Red Balloons. They did an English version of that one, but it's not as good as the original. They did a couple other songs that have like a couple million listens, so I could maybe check those out, see if I like them. Whatever, full length. Let's see you on the YouTube discussion bed. Holy shit. That was a fantastic episode. I fucking love that. Okay, let's go. That episode fucking ruled. Because... here's the thing. I wouldn't have liked it if the show ended badly. And you can argue that it did. I don't think it did, but you can argue that it did. Because the characters don't exist anymore, right? You can argue that it did. But it didn't, and I really like this montage, this episode. the previous episode's montage we had was really good because it finally it essentially just gave us a montage of scenes that happened in season 1 and 2, and now that we have full context, that montage becomes so much impactful. But in this episode, they gave us a montage of characters realizing that it's over, and like they are realizing that they're dying, that they're disappearing from existence, that this is it, that they're dead. But more than dead is more like you don't exist, which essentially is the same thing minus the pain. But what but I really love it because what we have understood clearly at this point is that every single character in this fucking show hates their life. Because everyone hates everything that has ever happened. Everyone hates everything that they have to do in order to... Because even Jonas has continuously multiple times said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do things anymore. I just want to stop. I just want to fucking cease to exist. He has said that, like, as a teenager. And then he tried to kill himself and it didn't work. Like, every character is locked in the rules of causality. And they actually did explain how it diverges, how all the bullshit that we've been seeing since end of season 2 up until here happens, and it's because of the apocalypse. It's because that at that moment shit can happen. At that moment when the apocalypse, explosion, shit, whatever, dark matter or shit happens, that moment means that you are able to fuck with the timeline and create a branch, essentially. And Eva uses this to her advantage in order to send Martha in, because at that moment she has an entryway. And then she might diverge by taking or not Jonas. And at that point, I guess Adam didn't know that. But he's the one that sent Martha there. He was the one that sent Martha in order to rescue him, right? Yeah, because then she went back to Adam and she was like, I did what you wanted. No. She did that for the mysterious stranger. Who sent Martha in the original time? Sorry, I'm like, okay. Sorry if I cannot remember every detail in this goddamn show. Okay, sorry about that. But at the end of the day, the general thing about what happened in this episode and in the show is finally understood. So, with the detail that you are able to do dimension jumping, because the thing is that device that they have allows them to travel in between the not worlds. So it's just two worlds. It's the not. You can travel from one to the other. Cool. That's what that orb machine they have does. But so what this is making me think is that this world actually does not operate in like multiverse theory. I don't know in what rules of the universe in the timeline this universe, the dark universe, works into. I don't know what rules it applies. Because it seems to be, it's just one, fuck it. It's one and there you go and that's the end of that. But somehow, some way, Tannhaus managed to make a machine that broke that shit. It broke the barrier of reality. And it just, the reality for him exploded and it created two worlds. Two separate alternate worlds. Neither of them are the ones he wanted. That's just what happened. And yeah. And so then the bullshit with the apocalypse and the time travel also somehow happened in those two worlds that Tannhaus created. Like, that's so... I mean, he didn't create the two, did he? Okay, so the details are going to be difficult to get into. Do I want to get into details? Or do I just want to jump into the cool shit? I just kind of want to jump into the cool shit. But so Tannhaus made a machine because he wanted to bring back his loved ones, and it really made sense when we actually saw them, when we actually saw the dude, and what we see is them having a fight, and I'm just like, oh no, that explains it. Because like there are a few things that are more heartbreaking than knowing this person is going to die. Like in a show, you see someone that you know is going to die, and you see the last interaction that person has with another be a fight. They're just fighting, there's a disagreement, they're just yelling at each other, and then they go and do some reckless shit out of rage, and then they're dead. I can think of like 2 more examples right now, and I'm not gonna say which ones because I don't want to spoil people, because that implies that if I tell you what it is, you know someone dies. But whenever that happens, that fucking sucks, man. And in here, they showed me that, and it's just... And the thing is that they're having a disagreement, but it's clearly just like a fight that just happened that one time. Like, they don't hate each other. They just hate each other at this moment. So, we don't know exactly how the disagreement started, with how the fight started, but what it boils down to is that Tannhaus is not a people person. He's not a family guy. Tannhaus is some dude, and he's a scientist, he's a hardcore scientist, and he's hardcore, like, deep into his craft, into his work. But the dude, his son, I don't even know the name of the son, but his son, is just someone that, he never got the thumbs up from dad. He never got the attention because Tannhaus was just too busy doing his own shit. But that's not because Tannhaus wanted to neglect him. It's just that that's the kind of person he is. He just didn't realize it. He was just like, oh, I'm doing some science. It's like, what's happening over there? And the kid always internalized that as like, my dad doesn't love me or whatever. So he became kind of a rebel. He became kind of an edgy guy. You can see it in his fucking look. I noticed immediately when we saw the photo. But they have one of their fights that they have here. And the dude essentially says, fuck it, I'm leaving. We were going to leave tomorrow, but fuck it, I'm leaving tonight because I can't stand your fucking bullshit, old man. And I like that Tannhaus is so shy. Like, because Tannhaus he's not actually putting up a fight against him. It's just that the son is so tired of his shit. And Tannhaus is just like, I do not know how to talk to people. I don't know how to interact with you. I don't know how to be a father. I don't know how to be anything. So he's just being very shy, and he doesn't know what to say. And they're like, we're leaving. And Tannhaus is like, it's raining. And then he's like, is that everything you have to say, huh? And then he just fucking leaves in anger. And I like that Tannhaus and the daughter-in-law, they get along, because the daughter-in-law realizes that he's not a bad guy. It's just that they have a disagreement. They don't match the son and the dude and Tannhaus. So they leave in anger, and they go out, and then Jonas and Martha pop in. And here's the thing, is that when the last episode ended, we ended with Claudia showing up in front of Adam, being like, all right, what's up? And yeah, so like when that was happening, I was wondering where was the like diverge, because if Claudia does the things that Claudia does every time forever, then that means that because Claudia has to do the same things she always does, that because she does have a play in the plot of the show, in like things that happen if you look at it from the outside. It's just like, if you look at the whole picture, Claudia does have key moments and things that she does that make sure that everything goes the way it always has. So she does that. Okay, cool. She does that. But in this one specific version of her has the one moment where she goes, and now we diverge. And I was wondering how, and she's like, well, because of when time stops for like a second, when the apocalypse happens, when the planet stops, I don't know what exactly she said. there is a loophole, and you are able to just make changes that essentially ignore the laws of causality. And when she said that, I was like, oh, so does Adam go back in time and shoot Jonas when that happens? Because that means that, like, he could have just shot Jonas right there when that happened. Okay? Okay. But the thing is that, and would that have just fixed everything instantly? Because, like, if Jonas dies there, then that means that Martha doesn't save him, which means that the baby's, he never meets the other Martha and has the Genesis baby and never goes back in time in order to create a life for everybody. So everyone would cease to exist anyway if he just shot Jonas right there. But that's not what we're doing. Instead, we're going to have a better ending. So Claudia tells Adam exactly how things work. And Adam is like, holy shit, okay, this is what we have to do. And like, the thing is that what happens here, what happens in this fucking episode, is actually what Adam wanted to do. He just failed at it because he didn't understand the rules of the game. But Claudia does, and Claudia tells Adam, and Adam is like, holy shit, okay, so that's what we gotta do. And then he's like, all right, let's do it. And he essentially becomes an agent that is just like, okay, he's now kind of a pawn, but he's someone that is like, not a pawn, but he's a player rather than the mastermind, because now he understands. Now that Claudia told him what to do, he's like, okay, I'll do it. I'm going. Let's fucking go. Because that's what he always wanted. So now he travels to Jonas, the Jonas that just saw Adam kill Martha, and then Adam walks in again, and he's just like, I can stop this. I can stop this. Trust me. Just trust me on this one, bro. Which is difficult to do when he just shot. He just saw you shoot her, and he's just crying over her dead body, and you walk in, and it's like, okay, I understand you're angry, but listen to me, man. I feel like there should have been more of a struggle there, but whatever. Eventually they teleport her away. Adam explained everything, and Jonas is like, okay, so that's what we gotta do. So then they travel to the other world. They travel to the other world when Ulrich is chasing Helge in to the cave, and we see that in that version of her universe, Ulrich does like attack Helge and fucks his eye out, but it's the 80s, not the 50s. But then old Helge hits Ulrich from behind with a crowbar and just kills him, and then Claudia walks in and she understands what just happened. So, okay. But the thing is that where do we want to go here? So he explains to Jonas, okay, we need Martha too, because the thing is that both of you, there's not really a reason why they needed Martha. There really isn't, other than just like we have to do it together because it's both of our fault. Because it is, because like they hate the lives that they live and what happens to everyone. But literally everything that happens is both of their faults. Like, it's literally their fault for the both of them. And it almost sounds like they didn't realize that it was until this episode, which is weird because they literally have been doing everything. It's everything they've ever done is in order to continue the loop. So it's weird that in this episode they were like emotional about it. I suppose they're emotional about it because they realized the finality of it. So and Eva realizes it because she goes like, shoot me and kill me like you always do, because that's what my younger self sees and takes up on the mantle to hate you and defy you. And then she doesn't die, and she's like, this is not how it happened. What did you do? And Adam is like, I'm gonna end it. And it's like, oh my god, you're actually gonna end it. Shit, you succeed? So that's what happens. But okay, so they went to take alternate universe Martha before Franziska and Magnus took them. And it was perfectly timed what Jonas did. He just set up the machine, he put it in his pocket, and he just started running. And then he went there and he catch Martha and instantly teleported her away. Instantly. Like, it was still moving. Like, the particles for the teleportation moved as well because he was in movement. So that was cool. And then I think they're back to Jonas's world. Yeah, because that machine only allows to travel between the not worlds. So World 1, World 2, World 1, World 2, and that's how it does. But they went to 86 in that world. They didn't go to the third world. They only gone to the original world. Okay, so this is where the whole thing, everything we're doing, where everything is a little bit iffy, where everything is a little bit weird. So, Tannhaus created a machine in order to bring back the dead, in order to bring back everyone. When did he do this? And in what world did he do this? Because he did that in the original world. Did he do that in the Jonas world too? Like he's just been working on that off screen in Jonas's world? Like in Jonas's world in 86, he's been working on that machine. And that's why when they were at the Sigmundus tunnel, the machine opened a portal to the original world because that's what Tannhaus wanted to do. But they say that is also what broke the timelines apart. Okay, I'm having trouble understanding that specific bit of it. I suppose I can just Google every question I have now. Right? The show's fucking done. No, not the portable time machine. I'm just looking at the Dark House, the fucking Dark Wiki. Okay, yeah, they used the machine so it doesn't travel only to World 1 and World 2. It travels to the origin world as well. So they travel to 1986, June 21st, in the origin world. That's what the Dark Wiki says. And Martha asks Jonas what's going on, and he's surprised to see him alive. He doesn't look exactly like her. Okay, yeah, sure. They walk to the cave. Okay, the day their worlds were created, Watchmaker Tannhaus will open the passage for the first time that day. They must prevent this from happening. They walk to the cave. She asks him where they are going. He tells her they are returning someone from the dead and must get to them before they die. Jonas and Martha reach the door marked with Sigmundus, and Jonas opens it, and Martha and Jonas appear in front of them. They divert the car to avoid them. Mark gets out of the car. That's the name of the son, Marek. Okay. Berating Martha and Jonas, he asks them if they are okay. Jonas replies that the bridge is not open because there has been an accident. Tells him what we know is a drop and what we don't know is an ocean. Martha tells Marek that her father loves him and that he would do anything for him. Marek asks Jonas what he said. Sonia comes out and tells Marek they should go, and then Marek goes like, the bridge is closed and we'll go back. We'll drive out the next day. We'll stay the night here. I'm not sure if everything that happens here makes sense, but I don't care because it was cool. And this is something that people need to realize. Some people complain about in this channel sometimes, not often, but I don't care about whether things make sense or not, as long as they're cool, as long as I have fun, as long as I enjoy them. I think things don't need to necessarily be that rooted in something that makes sense, rooted in reality, grounded. I don't care. So they travel to the origin world. I'm not sure how they travel with that machine, despite never having done so. Or is it something that they could just do at that specific time? I don't exactly know. They just didn't know there was a third one and they never tried. That is also probable. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, Martha and Jonas, alternate universe Martha and Jonas, and they both leave. The reason why both of them left is because they're both to blame for everything happening. They both own responsibility to it because they're both too stubborn. They never stop caring about the things that they always cared. So they continue to fuck the planet in that way. And they literally did fuck the planet because they are to blame for the apocalypse happening in both worlds. So they did literally fuck the planet. So, now, okay, where do we go here? Maybe I should just like skim through the episode a little bit. Just to give myself brain jolt so I could know what to talk about. But whatever. So Jonas and Martha end up just traveling to the original world. And they time travel back to whenever this is. Okay, I can actually check it out here. I can actually just check it out here. So what is the name of the dude again? Morak or more Mark Tannhaus. Doesn't actually tell me when he died. I don't know what date it would have been. But let's say that it was the 70s. No, maybe earlier. Because Tannhaus is old by 86. So it's been, it could be the 70s, like early 70s. It could be the 60s. Fuck it. It could be the 50s even. Late 50s to early 70s, I'll say. I don't know how well Tannhaus ages. But there's gonna be a lot of editing in this fucking discussion bit. Otherwise, it's gonna be really fucking infuriating. But so Martha's and Jonas, and I really like what they did. I really like how they prevented it from happening. Which is, they pop in front of the car and they don't look okay. Jonas and Martha don't look okay. And he could tell because he's like, are you okay? Do you need any help? Jonas says the bridge is closed and he's like, are you serious? He's like, don't play with me. Don't joke with me or whatever. And then Jonas says, they say the perfect words. And I'm sure Claudia told them what the words to say were. And she did all this investigating for it. So they told him the words. What we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. And then Martha tells him, your father loves you very much. Okay? That is exactly what they needed to say. Because the thing is that this guy believes he doesn't care about him. And he's also upset at everything Tannhaus ever does. But he also brought up, even in their argument a couple minutes ago, he said, and you're always going off about that dumb bullshit about what we want, what we know and what we don't know, and the oceans and whatever. Fuck you. And he walks away. They show up and they say these words. So these two guys popped in out of nowhere. And then they just said, don't go that way. The bridge is closed. Just don't go. And then they say the words that Tannhaus always says. So he's like, what? What did you say? And then they say, your father loves you very much. So in this guy's mind, Marek, is that his name? I need to remember it. Marek. So in Marek's head, I can see the gears turn. And even though he doesn't fully understand, and he says he didn't know why he came back, he just said he had a feeling. I can see like a part of him just being like, did my dad literally invent time travel to stop me from dying? Because the thing is that he's been living with Tannhaus his entire life. He has heard about multiple realities. He has heard about the time travel. He's heard about all this crazy shit on a theoretical level, because that's what Tannhaus is all about, and that's why he hates him. But he knows about these concepts. And then these two characters just randomly pop into existence and they say, your father loves you, okay? He would do anything for you. That's what they said. He would do anything for you. And then they give the crucial words that confirm that what we know is a drop, what we don't know is an ocean. So that in Mark's head is like, oh, shit. You know what? I'll go back. I'll just go back. He doesn't believe that there's time travel or whatever, but he just has this moment where he thinks, but what if though? I'm just gonna go back. I'm good. I'm chill. We'll just go. Okay? So they do that, and he goes back to Tannhaus, and they survive, and they're good, and they make it out, and that is amazing. because like I really care about that relationship in like the couple minutes that they show me of it, you know, with Marek and Tannhaus. Like I fully understood what they were about, and then they changed it and saved them, and that was awesome. That's something I really loved. Um, do we just move into the end of the episode? Is there anything else I want to say here? Well, about how Claudia made everything to be. I mentioned in the previous episode, but I realized that the reason why Tronti went and said, "I'm doing this to save you," which is what triggered Regina to then in the future tell herself, if we do this right, she will live, which makes her go, I don't think that what I meant by that is to make her suffer and watch her die over and over. So I'm going to go rogue, I'm going to become a renegade and work towards another solution, which is how she comes across the solution to go back to the original world. So the reason why Tronti killed Regina is because Claudia told him to kill Regina, because she will die no matter what, in no matter what version of the planet, in no matter what version of the universe. So what they need to do is to jump into another one. And Claudia knows how to do it, but she knows that the reason why she went into that journey to begin with is because Regina died. So she's like, she has to live. She has to die in order for me to do this. Claudia says it herself. I've also killed people in order to make sure that I go down the path that I have to go in order to go here, in order to save everyone. So that happens. God, like this episode was fully just not what I expected. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't thinking anything, because like I didn't think there would be. Okay, so I think there would be some kind of reveal that would not make the show so fucking depressing at the end. But I didn't think it would just be like this entire just like, okay, we got a plan instantly. This is how it goes. It's this completely fuck you thing that comes out of nowhere. We can save everyone. This is how we do it. And Adam is like, I'm here to help you, okay? You are our only hope. Alternate past version of me. Go with alternate past version of Martha and make sure this shit never happens. I never thought that Adam would go from evil mastermind, evil bad guy, super bad guy, whatever, into I'm supporting the main character who is also me but dead, but not yet, because this version he's okay, and I'm supporting him to go and save everyone. I was not expecting that. There's also the bit when they saw they're both younger versions of themselves, and I'm not sure what that was. I'm not sure what the point of that was. They brought it back again when Jonah says he saw her, and she says that was you in the closet. It wasn't just a dream. And then she wonders whether or not they are dreams or will become dreams or whatever after they cease existing. So that's the only reason why that was there, I guess. But it really doesn't mean anything. Thematically, I don't know if I can find it any other meaning other than what it just said. So let me know in the comments what you feel about that scene when they are in like the blue void, which is like a hallway, and they see the younger versions of the other characters. So Martha sees young Jonas and Jonas sees young Martha. Is there any point to that other than to have that little conversation at the end that really doesn't mean much other than pondering on what them existing is? Then we see everyone ceasing to exist, which I really like. I really like that. I really like that everyone just disintegrates away. And it's not just the people, it's also the years, the family tree, and the photos. Because the thing is that none of that ever happened. We're not creating another timeline. We're making sure this one never came to be. So it appears the rules we're working on is there's just a single timeline, and the loss of time makes sure that things happen the way they always meant to happen. But whenever the apocalypse happens, there is a loophole which creates for fuckery. And so this infinite loop came to be. So what we need to do is make sure we never go down that path. And what causes that is Tannhaus. So we just need to stop that then. We need to stop time travel from existing to begin with, which is what Tannhaus did. And then, yeah, and I really like that because it means that it's not that we created another timeline or we jumped to another one that is safe. It's that, no, we just prevented both of them from existing to begin with. And then we see the original timeline. We see the original timeline. Where, okay, in the original timeline, I'm assuming it's the original timeline, because I suppose there's only one. In the future, in 2019 or 20 or whatever, we see a picture of Charlotte, Regina, and some guy. That's not Tronti, that is some guy. And we see Regina and Katharina and Hannah and Wooler and Bernadette. I just learned that is her name. I think that is her name. Bernadette. And who else do we see? And Peter. Yeah, okay. Is it couples night or is it just friends night? Because what I'm thinking is that, okay, so we have a couple confirmed, which is Hannah and Wooler. Which is a fucking couple. I would not have expected that, but you know what? I'll take it. Then we have Peter and Bernadette, which could be a couple because they have been together in both worlds. In one of them, it was just like a moment, but in the other one, it was just something that happened consistently. Katharina is alone, and then Regina is alone as well. And I'm also looking at where they're sitting. Like, Katharina is alone, or she's with Peter, and I don't think that's the case, so she has to be alone. So Peter and Bernadette might be a thing, Hannah and Wooler are a thing, and Regina is no one, as well as Charlotte. They are not with anyone. But we see this moment in the original world, and I really like this funny bit where they look at Wooler's eye and they say like, "It looks so much better," and they go like, "You never actually told us what happened to your eye." And then he goes like, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you then, but just don't tell anyone, okay?" And he's like, "All right." So this is what happened, and then we completely ignore that. That is a joke. That is a joke of like fans wanting to know what is the deal with Wooler's eye, and then at the end of the show they go like, "Okay, so this is what happened to his eye." An explosion happens in the background. It's like, what we're talking about? Never mind that. What was that shit? And then we just never explain it. That's so funny. That's so fucking funny. So yeah, a lightning strikes and Hannah sees a raincoat or the jacket or whatever she sees, and it makes her think of Jonas, I think. She just has a deja vu. She goes, "This is gonna sound completely absurd, but the light was flickering and somehow the world had ended. Like everything just went dark and it never became light again. And for some reason it felt correct. Like it felt like it was finally over. It felt like a relief." I really like that Hannah's saying all this shit. And she's talking about infinite darkness, you know, just like ceasing to exist. And I suppose that is what the show is named Dark. Because it's about non-existence. That is the end goal. And at the end of the show, every character went dark. They ceases to exist. Except the ones in this world, I suppose. In this world that is not fucked up, apparently, they seem to be doing fine. Every character seems to be doing fine. And then they talk about the baby. And it's just like, what is the name of the baby? It could be. And then she goes like, "Jonas would be a nice name." And that's where the show ends. And it a fucking Nana song kicks in, and it's the fucking dopest shit ever. But like, dude, that's such a good ending. Like it's tackling into this fucking idea of like fate or destiny or something like spiritual, something beyond the rules. Yeah, something beyond the rules of science or whatever. Like, because it's like she just had like a vision, like a moment where she remembered her past life, the past universe, and she just remembered Jonas's name. She doesn't know why, she doesn't understand it, but she's like, "That sounds like a nice name. I should name my son Jonas." And that's where it ends. But yeah, there we go. So these characters exist because they already like they're existence was already a thing by the time Tannhaus, by the time that the Tannhaus change happened, or the Tannhaus change thing that he did doesn't affect their existence. But the thing is that maybe none of them have kids, and even if they do, it might not be the same kids because the entire dynamic changes. Because like Jonas doesn't exist, Martha doesn't exist. Maybe she does. Maybe she doesn't. Like we would have to like go back and make sure how every character gets together and see if they do. It seems that Peter is hanging out with Bernadette. And yes, because Charlotte is not here. Because the existence of Charlotte is a paradox. So Charlotte is not here. Neither will be Elizabeth because Charlotte is not there. So Elizabeth is not there. Charlotte is not there, etc. So yeah, that never happens. Also Noah is not. So that would never happen. Which means that Peter is going to hook up with Bernadette, I suppose. Mikkel never travels backwards in time. So Hannah does not hook up with anyone. I don't know what the deal is with Ulrich. I suppose Ulrich would exist. Would he? No, wait a second. Every character we saw. Yeah, that makes sense. God, I want to see that fucking tree. I don't remember what the tree. God damn it. I'm gonna go to a different episode then, I suppose. But I think that literally every character we saw was the only characters that weren't part of the life tree that we saw here. Because, yeah. Tronti comes from Agnes. So Tronti doesn't exist. Which means that Ulrich doesn't exist. Which means that Mikkel, nor Martha, nor Magnus exist. Katharina exists because she comes from Helena Olvers and whoever the other person is. So Katharina exists. Hannah exists because she comes from Sebastian Kruger and whoever else. So she exists. Regina exists because she comes from Claudia and that other person. Not Tronti. Tronti does not exist. So she's there. Okay. Yeah, okay. Tronti was never the father. So I suppose in our universe, Claudia fucked with that dude, but she just never told us. Peter comes from he comes from Helge, which comes from the other whatever tree. It's just people we don't know about. So he exists. Waller and Bernadette, I don't know. I don't think they're even part of this tree. So they exist. And am I missing one? They're all there. The only characters that are there are the characters that are not from the Genesis tree that we saw. So they're the only ones that exist. And whatever characters they might give birth to are not going to be the same characters that we know. So yeah, Jonas does not exist. Martha does not exist. Any of the other kids, the loser gang is never going to exist. But there will be a new world where those characters, those 6 people and their families are going to be happy. And the world hopefully does not come to an end in an apocalypse. I don't think it will. So there you go. Man, this is a really good ending. Like I was afraid the show would end badly. Because the thing is that this show has never been good. This show has been fucked since episode 1. And I was kind of expecting the show to not be fine at the end as well. And that would it wouldn't have upset me, but it would have disappointed me a little bit. Because here's the thing, is that not having happy endings is overrated. You want a happy ending. Why wouldn't you want a happy ending? Other than you just want to be an edgelord. You want stories to end well. Right? You're invested in it. Might as well make it end well. If it doesn't end well, then it probably means that it has some kind of a point. Or it has some kind of theme that it wants to push. And I think Dark because okay, some people I see some people arguing that maybe this show doesn't end well because every character just ceases to exist. Fuck you. They needed to stop existing. Their existence itself is suffering. All of it is suffering. They like everything they do is for that goal. Everything they do is for the goal of like, fuck this shit. We need to stop. So them finding the answer to how to stop existing and succeeding in doing so is actually a really good ending. It's a happy ending. And then we get to see a happy ending by seeing the characters that continue to exist in the original timeline because they're not part of the original tree having a happy life. And they're just hanging out and they're friends, so they're great. And that is a good ending. And then in order to make it cheesy, Hannah goes, I had a deja vu, and I remember a little bit about the original world that, well, this is the original world. I remember a little bit of the weird not world that I lived through, and me and my son Jonas. That's a good name. I should name my son Jonas. And that was the end of that. And that is a good ending. Fuck, man, that show was good. The show was good. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was worried the show was not gonna be good at the end. I was worried about that. And nobody ever told me that the show wasn't gonna be good. But here's the thing, is that I feel like this show is a Netflix show. That is a fact. But what I mean by that is that this show has a Netflix vibe to it. Which means that we have a lot of character drama. We have a lot of characters just being ominous. A lot of characters just never being clear. A lot of characters just cheating on each other and fucking. And it's just like, can we move on with this? Can we get the plot developing and going? Can we just get on with the thing that I'm here for? And like, the reason why I refer to that as a Netflix show or a Netflix thing to do is because those sort of the things that makes show sell. The average consumer for a lot of this, for shows that are popular, like those things. The things that I just listed. Like, Game of Thrones does a lot of that, which is why it was so big. Also, I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones is good. I've never seen it. But, like, I feel like Dark does that because, like, the way it's shot, like, the way it's directed, like, the sequence of things that happen on an episode-to-episode basis, I feel like is a victim to that format. And I feel like, oh yeah, I think someone told me at one point that originally the people that came up with this show, this idea, this plot for the show, were thinking of making it a movie or like a trilogy movie or some shit. Fries explains that the idea is pretty old, 7 to 8 years around 2009, 2010, and originally supposed to be a movie but also continually changed over the years. When Netflix asked them to turn one of their movies, Who Am I, into a series, they suggested to do Dark instead. They had another idea and combined it with the Dark idea. They became the Netflix series Dark. Okay, so they were planning it as a 3-season show. The original idea was a movie, but that idea changed over the years. And then they combined another idea that they had for a show or for a movie with the idea that they had for Dark, and they just made a show out of it. Okay. Whatever. So, yeah, so my main complaint with this show would be that. It would be the feeling of like, can we get on with this already? I feel like there's many things that the show does that are very slowly and are just there in order to make to set the tone. And the thing is that the tone is always the same. The tone is always shit's fucked and everyone's depressed. That's always the tone in the show. So I don't think you need to set the tone ever in the show. You can do it once in season 1 and then stop because that's just what we do. But I feel like they do it every scene almost, and it drags on a little bit too much. So what I would say is that Dark would be perfect if it was like 5 episodes long per season. So 15 instead of 25. I think it's 26. Then 26. So instead of 26 episodes, if it was like 15, I think it would be perfect. I think it would actually be perfect. Like some things would be a little bit rushed, but the thing is that like almost like everything that they do feels rushed. Everything that they do that matters feels rushed because they need to spend the time doing the mood setters, the fucking tone setters. Just characters being ominous and mysterious and sad, and the music playing. The music, the one track, you know which one? The one that goes like yeah. Yeah. Well, you have a character just being dramatic, just like there's so many times that has happened. And I felt like I could have just skipped over every single time that happened. That did not take away anything from the show, I don't think. At the end, when the show was ended, I'm just like, I'm satisfied. That was good. But I feel like if I had to have one complaint about the show, it would be that. I feel like before, if you had asked me before, I would have told you that also a complaint I would have had would be with the characters and how no character is a character that I like. And so I'm not invested in them. But I actually found myself quite invested in this third season. I actually found myself invested during this third season a lot. Maybe I was invested in seasons 1 and 2 as well, but I don't remember. I have a shit memory and I don't remember exactly how I was feeling a year ago when I watched that. But I can tell you that I don't remember being invested back then. But now I was pretty invested. I was like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's cute. I did that a couple times this very episode. And I enjoy what they're doing. Like, I notice on the subtle things about every character that I feel they started doing more. Or maybe they were there, just didn't notice. And I grew fond of them a little bit more than I used to do before. Because, like, I feel like before... Okay, so the show, it's at its lowest whenever the main focus is characters' drama between each other and how they cheat on each other, how much they hate each other, or how much they're just doing fucked up shit between each other. Which is what a lot of Season 1 was, and a good chunk of Season 2 was. Season 3 is almost exclusively just like, what the fuck? An alternate world? We travel between alternate time. There's a split. There's a knot. Wait, what? Just like so much of season 3 has been that season 3 is hands down the best season. And the reason why is because it's dark at its highest, which is when it's focusing on the actual plot. I feel like the character drama is the setup in order to understand why things develop, which is good. It's good understanding how things develop, because like everything every character does, even though it's selfish and fucked up and just kind of enclosed to its own microcosm that doesn't really matter, it does matter in the grand picture, because everything everyone does kind of eventually lead up to the end of the planet or the end of the universe, of the minor things that make characters time travel and become their own grandfathers or whatever. Like, that shit happens so many times, and everything everyone does leads to that. So seeing the small bits of drama that end up leading into the grand things that actually do matter is cool. I just feel like it took too much time more often than not during seasons 1 and 2. Season 3, it's dark at its peak, which is what is actually happening. And they fuck with my brain by showing me more stuff than I was ready to know. But then I was like, okay, I'm piecing it together. Okay, let's try to understand. Can we talk about Peppa Sylvia? You know? And I got it. And it was good. And I like that. And I like that a lot. Dark, it's at its best whenever it's about the mystery, the time travel, the universe shit, whatever. The mystery itself, that's what matters. That's what makes it good and intriguing. And I feel like we didn't spend as much time on that as I would have wanted. But it's not that I needed more, it's that I needed less of the other thing. So looking back at it, like I said, I would have made Dark 15 episodes. Just half its length or a little bit over half, and just skip over all that shit that we didn't need to see. We could have made it go by so much faster. So that is my advice for Dark Remastered. To re-release Dark in a concise, shortened version, it would be a better show. That's how I feel about it. Now, anything else I want to say about the episode itself? I'm at this point, I'm just talking about Dark in general as a whole. Like, how do I feel about it? Sorry that the past 5 minutes or more have just been me. I suppose how they could be perceived as complaining. I don't think I'm complaining, because what I'm saying is that I'm being like, these things could have been better. These things could have been better. And I feel like you could have focused on the things that were really good, because Dark has a lot of really good shit. And the thing is that I've been talking to a friend about the show as I've been watching it, because it's a friend that I talked to about a bunch of shit. And their perception of Dark through me has been negative. But I'm almost like every time I say something that is negative, I've been also saying, no, but it's really good though. Because every time I'm like, I feel like they could have handled that better. But dude, I'm really into this other shit that they're doing though. And whenever the focus is one and not the other, is whenever I'm just like, well, can we go back to that though? Or can we get an answer to that though? And when it finally does, it's actually satisfactory. And I did enjoy it a lot. Which is why I would say those final 2 episodes were the best. Episode 7 was the context episode, and it explained a lot. And episode 8 is also something that explains a lot, but also gives me a solution, and it's good, and it's fine, and it's fire, and it's awesome. And I enjoyed that a lot. It's very thematic too. And I really liked that. So, yes, all in all, I would say Dark was fucking good. It was really good. I would say the show is good. This is why I keep saying, I keep showing my complaints with the show about its tone and what it does, is that I've had no fewer than 3 people tell me I couldn't get into it. I watched an episode and I was like, yep, I don't really feel like I want more. I feel like Dark's tone and pacing could have been so much better in order to create a show that is essentially almost perfect or just perfect. Because whenever Dark peaks, it fucking peaks, man. It has some good shit in it. All of season 3 has been fire. So, yes. But it also makes Dark difficult to recommend. Because I've had multiple people tell me yeah, not my thing. I don't like it. It just doesn't... I just didn't enjoy watching it. And I'm just like... I get it. Because I feel... honest on God. I feel like I would not have watched the show on my own. I wouldn't have made it past the first or 2 episodes or whatever. I would have been like, yep. And then moved on and went to watch something else. And the only reason why I stuck to it is because I was doing it for the channel. So now that the journey is over, I can say that I'm glad that I have. In general, I'm glad that I watch stuff for the channel in general, because I feel like it puts me out of my comfort zone. And I'm just like, this is weird. I normally wouldn't do this, but let's do it. Let's see what happens. And that ends in good results. I'm just like, yeah, I wouldn't have made it that on my own. But you know what? That was a good experience and I enjoyed it, actually. So I'm glad I'm doing this here. And that's what I feel about Dark. I feel like I'm thinking to myself, I would not have made it past 1 episode, maybe. But I'm glad that I did. And I'm glad that people brought the show to my attention. It was 1 person. It was literally 1 person. It was my first patron. So yeah, shoutouts to her. Shoutouts to Belinda. She was the one person that said, yo, check the show out. And I was like, Well, I should probably do more than one show at the time on the channel. I think I have the time to do two. So then I checked this one out, and that's where we're at today. So yeah, thanks to her. But at the end, the show ended up being pretty awesome. I feel like we spent a lot of time on things that didn't matter. But I enjoyed a lot what the show is on like a script. On like, if you had to write what is Dark about, like what happens, like what is the plot, what happens in Dark, I would just write exactly what happens, and that I would read that and I would be like, this is great, this is fucking fantastic. Like talking about the time travel and the people traveling back and forth and the Adam and the Eva and the all of that sounds amazing. And the end of the world, and yeah. But when we have to talk about like, okay, so Hannah is doing this shit because she wants to blackmail this dude, because she hates this dude, because she feels like he doesn't belong to her enough, and this dude also hooks up with this hooker because he doesn't feel. It's just like, I don't care about that. Give me the good shit though. So that's my end of show final thoughts. I think it was a really good show. I would say it's like an 8 out of 10. And if you remove the parts that I'm complaining about, it would be like a 10. It would just straight up be a 10. Because I'm a fucking slut for this time travel narratives and storylines and multiple universes, and it's also thematic, and a lot of this is just fantastic. And the way they fix it, and they all cease to exist, and everyone's just happy that it's like, oh my god, the nightmare is over. That was so cathartic. That made me feel so good. It's finally over. Like, all of that shit made me feel good. All of that shit made me very happy. I would recommend the show to people if you are into time travel specifically. But I will also put on the warning of like, it's gonna drag on a little bit. And it's gonna fucking expand on things that doesn't need to expand. And it might get a little annoying at times. But it is worth it if you care about time travel plotlines, storylines, and narratives. It will be worth it eventually. That would be my advice for anyone to get into Dark. That's how I would describe it. Amazing resolution, yeah. God, there was something I just wanted to say. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, I remember. And since I think I finished talking about the show, I'm gonna unashamedly shill for another really good time travel sci-fi whatever narrative that I've been really into for the past couple weeks, maybe months. I don't know exactly when I started. But if any of you, and I understand that there's not a big overlap in between people that watch Dark Netflix and watch Dark Netflix reactions and people that would do this. But there is a video game called 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. It's a Japanese ass title because it's a Japanese ass game. It is the best sci-fi narrative I have ever seen in my entire life. And all I will say about it is the word sci-fi and time travel. And that's everything I'm gonna say about it. The game itself is kind of a visual novel, like adventure, and also like a real-time strategy battle with mechs. But also it has like a built-in like Wikipedia in the game that you can read entries about everything that has ever been presented to you in the game. And I suppose the way to connect this with Dark is the fact that Dark is a show, so they don't want they don't want me to like analyze every single little bit of detail they give me. 13 Sentinels is a video game, and they want you to analyze every single little bit of detail you want. And that is why I feel like I enjoy that more than Dark. Because I like sitting here and being like, let's get every detail. Let's try and figure this out. Because the process of figuring out the mystery is so much more enjoyable to me than the show telling me what the mystery is. And I do want them to tell me, but more than tell me, I want them to confirm to me, so then I can compare it to my notes, right? And that's what I've been doing with Dark the entire time. And this is something that I realized essentially when I started doing Dark, is that this is what I do. I just really like just being like, okay, every detail, give me every detail. And like, last episode, for example, the beginning of last reaction, I just sat there and I just look at the family tree and I was like, okay, this person goes there, this person goes there. That means that this person does this. Oh, that's interesting. Silver goes there. Bartosz, okay, that makes sense. And I was just like piercing everything together based on information they had already given me. I just didn't pay attention to it at the time. But I can see how people can be like, that is, you shouldn't check that out. You shouldn't have seen that tree. You will spoil yourself. And it's like, no, like, because like to me, the enjoyment out of this more than anything comes from the fact that I'm like solving the mystery. I'm just like, it's engaging to me and it's much more fun than just sitting here being like, oh, so that's what happened. I do that too, right? Because the show reveals things to you at the base it wants to reveal them. But if they give you clues beforehand, I'm all about the clues and trying to solve the mystery on my own. And then the show can catch me up or can confirm or whatever. And I'll be like, yeah, okay, get it. So I would hard recommend the video game 13 Sentinels Aegis Rem. The developers that made that game are broke as fuck. That game got no advertisement. It didn't get any love. And it's going on sale relatively often despite being a new-ish game because they just didn't get any money. So pretty much every single person that has played that game and has seen it is just screaming, please get it, because it's super worth it. I am not joking you when I say that it's the best sci-fi time travel narrative I have ever seen in my entire life. Just sci-fi narrative ever. And I might even kick it up one more and say it's the best narrative I've ever seen of anything in my life. It's so convoluted. It's so crazy. It's exactly the kind of shit that I've been doing with Dark this entire time. So if you are about that, like the only reason why I'm plugging it in right here is because the same feeling that I get from recording this shit is the same feeling that I get from seeing that game. If you are about that, if you are just looking at the breadcrumbs and the little clues and just being like, oh, that shit is crazy, it's super crazy, convoluted sci-fi, and how does the character relate to each other, what is happening here, trying to figure out the mystery, everything that's happening, because there's a lot happening, I recommend the video game 13 Sentinels Aegis Rem. And that's where I'll leave this. That's where the video ends. And if you stuck to this point, thank you so much. If you stuck to the end of this reaction series and you listen to every word I've said about this fucking crazy ass show, thank you. And just thank you for everything. Thank you for being here the entire journey. Thank you for everything. Just even one video, whatever. Great. Thank you. But I think that is the end of it. We've been recording this like review discussion for like an hour, so I should go. Also, I'm super hungry. I'm not sure if at any moment my stomach made noise, but I've been super hungry for the past hour and a half. So I'm gonna go eat something. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for Dark. And yeah, that was a good show. Next week, we're doing Season 5 of The Expanse. We're going back to The Expanse, so if you're about that, then you can tune in for that. But yeah, other than that, I think we're done. But yeah, thank you for being here with me for Dark. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this reaction episode to Dark. If you would like to see the first episode of season 5 of The Expanse, it should already be up on Patreon, as well as full length for this episode and all of Dark too. Check out the links in the description for everything, social media, and I'll see you next time. Okay, everyone, take care. Goodbye.